Hello and welcome to today's math lesson. If you're doing this lesson from school, could you please make sure you do all your calculation in your math book, please? The same as always, half your page, in the middle of your page, draw a line, and then in the first half, do all the starter, and in the second half, write the yellow and the date at the top, and then rest of your calculation. So for the start, we have 6 starter question. As I said, half your page in the first half, do all these 6 questions. Pause the video for 7 to 10 minutes, have a go with all of them, and then start the video again. Now change to green pen and self-mark your answers, please. I'm quickly gonna go through the answers. For example, for first one, you easily can say, if you have a decimal number times by 100, timesing by 100, make the decimal point move 2 to the right. So 1, and then you need 1 more. So that's why you end up with 10. Write down the factors of 16. Factors are two numbers. If you times together, you get the original number. So if I times 1 and 16, I get 16. If I times 2 and 8, I get 16. If I times 4 and 4, I get 16. So that's why 1, 16, 2, 8, and 4, they are factors of 16. When you find in the perimeter is when you go all around the shape and add up all the lengths. But you need to make sure when you have some missing lengths like this one and this one there, you need to first find the missing lengths, then add up everything around the shape. To find this length, as you can see, this length, it is equal to sum of this 6 and this 5 there. So 6 add 5 is 11. So that's the length in here. Then to find this one, if you see, you have 10, take away this 6, which is equal to that 4 in here. Now that I have found all the missing lengths, if I start from one corner, add up all the lengths, then I end up with perimeter. And make sure the unit in perimeter is the same as the unit with the lengths. So if they are in centimeter, the perimeter going to be in centimeter as well. When you're finding the fraction of something, so you need to divide by whatever you have on a denominator. So 30 divided by 5, whatever is your answer, times it by the number at the top. So 6 times by 4, which is 24. Question E, what is the sum of all single-digit prime numbers? So first of all, you need to just list all the prime numbers or the single-digit prime numbers and make sure one is not prime, because one doesn't have two factors, and prime numbers are those numbers that have only two factors. So that's why one is not prime. So the first prime number is 2, then is 3, 5, 7. And then the next prime number after 7 is 11, and 11 is not single digit. So that's why you just write down the single digit prime number, and sum means addition. Sum means when you add them. Then add them all up and you end up with 17. Last question. If you read it carefully, 40 people were interviewed about how they travel to school. 3/5 of, when it says 3/5 of the whole pupils, it means 3/20th of the whole pupils. It means 3/20th of these 40 people. So that's why you need to find the same as question D. You need to find 3/20 of 40, which means you divide by denominator. So 40 divided by 20, it is 2. Then you times 2 by the number that you got at the top. So 2 times 3, which is 6. Then 6 means 6 is actually those people that they are cycling to school. But what was the question asking you? How many pupils do not cycle to a school? So you knew at total you had 40 people, 6 of them cycling to a school. So if you take away those 6, you end up with 34, which means 34 people, they are not cycling to school. Just double check, make sure you have that last step as well. Very well done if you manage to do all 6 right. Now this lesson, it is about ordering operation. So make sure first of all you write yellow, write the date at the top of your page. Then when you have these kind of questions, when you have mix of subtraction, addition, multiplication and division, you can't just start from right and from left and go to right. That's going to be wrong. If you have different operation, as I said, same as addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, if you have all of them all together, you need to follow some order. We used to say BIDMAS or BODMAS, which means bracket, then indices, then division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So you have to do them in that order. But in this lesson, we only look at when you have addition with multiplication or division, or subtraction with multiplication and division, nothing else. So we're not talking about bracket or indices. So in this case, for example, the first I do, if I just use my laser, if you just look at the first I do, you have subtraction and you have division. Based on success criteria, when you have mix of operation, you need to do division and multiplication before addition and subtraction. So which means I have subtraction and I have division, but I'm not going to start from left and say, okay, 12 take away 15 and so on. That's going to be wrong. You have to follow these rules. So you need to do division before subtraction. Always division multiplication comes before addition and subtraction. So I need to start from this bit, which is 15 divided by 3. What is 15 divided by 3? 5. So if I rewrite the question, I have 12 take away 5, which is equal to 7. So again, make sure you can't just start from left and go to right. If you have subtraction and division or multiplication, division and multiplication comes before addition and subtraction. So you need to do division and multiplication first, then addition and subtraction. Now, copy this example down in your book, pause the video for 2 minutes, have a go with video, please. Now again in the video is the same things. I have subtraction and I have division. But the rule says in ordering operation, I need to do division before subtraction. So I actually need to do this bit first. So 18 divided by 3 is 6. So if I rewrite the question, I have 12 take away 6, and that's going to be equal to 6. I explain the second I do. Okay, now I have division and I have addition. I know division comes before addition. I don't care what order they've been written. I have to start with division first. Okay, 18 divided by 3 is 6. Then if I rewrite the question, I have 6 add 12, which is 18. So your last answer is 18. Now, could you pause the video for 2 minutes and have a go with video, please? Okay, in video question, again, I have division and addition. So I know that I have to start with division. 15 divided by 3 is 5. Then 5 add 12 is 17. Very well done if you manage to do these right. Now again, in the first I do, same thing, just more practice. But this time I have subtraction and I have multiplication. But based on the success criteria, which shows us the step and everything, I know multiplication comes before subtraction. So I actually need to do this bit first. So I do 5 times 3, which is 15. Then I have 15, take away 15, which is equal to 0. Pause the video, 2 minutes, have a go with video, please. Now again, I have subtraction and I have multiplication. Multiplication come before subtraction, so I need to do 2 times 9 first. 2 times 9, it is 18. Then you have 18 take away 18, which is equal to 0. Okay, this one is slightly different because you're dealing with fraction, but the rule is exactly the same. I can't just start from left and go to right because I have addition and I have division. They are different operations, so I need to follow with mass. And I know division comes before addition, so I have to do this bit first. But so I know that I need to do this bit first, but as you can see, I'm dealing with fraction, so I prefer to have the answer for this bit. I know that 10 divided by 2 is 5, but because I'm dealing with fraction, I prefer to have this answer as a fraction as well. And you know fraction is one kind of division, and you can write division as a fraction as well. So 10 divided by 2, it can be written as 10 over 2. It is actually 10 divided by 2. So it's the same thing. So I just rewrote it in a fraction format. So instead of 10 divided by 2, I'm writing 10 over 2, which is exactly the same as division. So now, if I write the question, I have 2 over 5 add 10 over 2. So I'm dealing with two fractions now. Okay, you remember what we need to do when you're adding two fractions? First step was to look at the denominators. If the denominator were the same, you could have easily do the addition. But if the denominator not the same, which is in this case, they are not the same, one of them is 5, one of them is 2, you have to make the denominator the same. What number is the lowest common multiple between 5 and 2? What number is the lowest number that is in both 5 and 2 times table? It is 10. So I need to make both denominator as 10. So I need to times 5 by 2. Whatever I do on the denominator, I have to do the same things at the top. So I times the top by 2 as well. But to make the second fraction as 10, I need to times 2 by 5. So whatever I've done on denominator, I do the same things at the top. So that needs to be times by 5. Now, if I just write the fraction now, 2 times 2 is 4, 5 times 2 is 10. So the first fraction going to be 4 over 10. Then add addition between. 10 times 5 is 50, and 2 times 5 is 10. Now if we look, I have two fractions with the same denominators. Now I can easily add them. So when you have a same denominator, you're going to write one of the denominator down, which is 10, and add the top. So you end up with 54 over 10. And as you can see, my last answer, 54 over 10, it is improper fraction. It is top-heavy fraction, which means I have a bigger number at the top. So I can write it simpler as a mixed number. How many times 10 goes into 54? 5 times, 4 left over. So 5 times, 4 left over, and denominator stay as it is. Okay, now copy this example down in your book, the same as what I've done. Then pause the video, have a go with video question, and start the video again. Okay, in the video again, I have addition and I have division. I know that division comes before addition, so I need to do this bit first. So I need to do 6 divided by 2 first. I know the answer as 6 divided by 2 going to be 3, but because I'm dealing with fraction, I prefer to have this in a fraction format. So instead of 6 divided by 2, I can write 6 over 2, which is exactly the same as division. So 6 divided by 2 or 6 over 2. So if I just rewrite the question, I have 3 over 5 add 6 over 2. Now I'm adding two fractions, but they are different denominators. So I need to make the denominator the same. So if I times 5 by 2, because the same denominator, it is 10 between 5 and 2. So I need to times the first fraction by 2 and second fraction, top and bottom both by 5. So my fraction changed actually to 6 over 10 and 30 over 10. Now I have a same denominator. I'm going to write one of the denominator down at the top. So I end up with 36 over 10. So if I just rewrite my answer as a mixed number, how many times 10 goes into 36? 3 times, and you have 6 left over, and the denominator stay as it is. Now, a couple of more examples, then it's going to be your turn to just do some independent task. Okay, in the first one, again, I have division and I have subtraction. So I know that division comes before subtraction. So I start with 6 divided by 2. But because I'm dealing with fraction, I prefer to have that in a fraction format. So 6 divided by 2, it is the same as 6 over 2. So if I rewrite the question, I have 6 over 2 take away 3 over 5. Different denominator, I need to make the denominator the same. And the lowest common denominator between 2 and 5 is 10. So I need to make both denominator 10. So I need to times 2 by 5, same things at the top. And I need to times 5 by 2, and same at the top. So if you just work out the fractions, you end up with 30 over 10 take away 6 over 10. Same denominator, write one of them, then do 30 take away 6, which is 24 over 10. Now I can write my answer as a mixed number. How many times 10 goes into 24? 2 times, 4 left over 10. You still can simplify this one, for example, and you end up with 2 whole. If you divide both of them by 2, you can end up with 2 whole 2 over 5. If the question asks you to just write your answer in a simplest form. Okay, now pause the video, have a go with video question, please. Now again in here, division and subtraction, you know that division comes before subtraction, so you need to start with this bit. And you're dealing with fraction, write this one in the fraction format. So 10 over 2 take away 3 over 5. Different denominator, you need to make the denominator the same. Then you write the fraction, which is 50 over 10 take away 6 over 10. Same denominator, write one of the denominator, then do 50 take away 6, which is 44 over 10. Now I want to write my answer as a mixed number. How many times 10 goes into 44? 4 times 4 left over 10. Okay, very well done if you manage to do this one right, and just be ready to just do some independent task in a minute. Here is some question for you to do it. Have a go with all of them. Pause the video, have a go with all of them, and then you can start the video again to just mark your answers. Just make sure you need to follow BIDMAS rule, and which means in each case multiplication or division comes before addition or subtraction. Okay, have a go with all of them and start the video again. Now change to green pen please and self-mark your answers. Pause the video, self-mark all the answers with the green pen. Now again, you using order in operation to just do your calculation. In here, you're dealing with fraction. We've done fraction and you know what to do. So make sure when you're dealing with fraction, leave your division as a fraction. Okay, so if you have a whole number, you can write it over 1 to just have that as a fraction. For example, if you times 10 and 2, you end up with 20. So you have 2/5 at 20, and 20 is a whole number. But because you're dealing with fraction, you can write 20 as 20 over 1. Then you do common denominator and so on. So when you have a whole number, you can write the whole number over 1 and just do the same calculation. And just one quick reminder in here as well, when you have a mixed number and you want to do your calculation, make sure you change that mixed number to improper fraction first, then do your calculation. For example, in here, it's going to be 10 over 5, then take away. You need to change that to improper fraction, which was 1 times by 5, which is 5, then 5 add that 2. So 1 times by 5, it is 5, 5 add 2 is 7, so it's going to be 7 over 5. So that this mixed number as a fraction will be 7 over 5, and then you do your calculation. Okay, now pause the video and have a go with all these questions, please. Now change to green pen again and self-mark your answers. Just make sure when you're marking your answers, you might, for example, didn't simplify in the simplest form. So double check whatever is in here, double check your answers and see if you've simplified in the simplest form, because the answer that you can see there, they've been simplified as much as they could have simplified. So the last answer, they are in the simplest form. So double check your answers and make sure if you have a different answer, if you simplify it, do you get the same answer? Now for last practice exercise, as you can see again is the same things. So let me just show you the first one, for example. Exactly the same thing. So you have addition and you have multiplication, and you know multiplication comes before addition. So you need to start from this 0.12 times by 3 first. So you need to do this bit first, and you know how to times decimal number. You ignore the decimal, so you times 12 by 3, which is 36. Then how many decimal places do I have in total? 2. So you put that 2 decimal places back, so you end up with 0.36. So you have 0.36 for here, then you add 2 to that. So just make sure you follow the order. It's the same things, just you dealing with decimal number. You know how to divide decimal number, you know how to times decimal number. So you use those information that you had from the previous lessons, and you just use that ordering operation to complete these answers. Okay, have a go with all of them and then start the video again to mark your answers. Okay, here are all the answers, and this was the last practice exercise. Mark all your work with the green pen. If you're struggling, if you have any question, please email me. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.